Hello my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So we're looking inside the Thai cave, which is the entrance to where the whole soccer team has gotten lost. And so we have some good news breaking from the site, in that we have 4 more boys that have been rescued from the cave. So there's 4 left to go, and there's the soccer team coach as well. So 8 boys have been rescued so far, successfully. So keep the prayers up, keep the good intentions up. It's working. And so the rescue operation for the Thai soccer team trapped in the cave is underway still. And as we had said, 8 boys have been successfully extracted. Another 4, along with the coach, remain. But before the rescued boys can finally go home to their families, they need to make a pit stop at the hospital where they're being briefly quarantined to make sure they didn't pick up any diseases in the caves, according to news reports. Indeed, the caves can be petri dishes for bacteria and viruses. The big worry is that basically in the presence of bats, guano, it could really transfer a lot of different things, including rabies. So the boys will not be able to go home quite yet, but 8 of the boys have been successfully extracted, and so we're getting there. That's a real positive thing. And this actually gives you a better view and idea of what happened. So they came into this entrance, and when they got in there was no water, but after the rains, it filled up. And you can see where the boys were way down here. So patches of dry land exposed, but then also this whole area that was flooded. So several areas that they had to go through in order to get the boys out. And again, keep up your prayers and best wishes. So we have 8 so far that are rescued, thankfully. So have you ever seen a water spout up close and personal? And this is in Veracruz. As you can see it descend from the sky and just sweeping along on top of the water as these gentlemen watch from their boat. A pretty impressive sight. I've seen them off in the distance before, but not that close. And so we have seen a lot of wild weather for sure. And Puerto Rico is dealing with rain and flooding as the remnants of Beryl move over the island. And Puerto Rico is still so hurting from last year. And so many Puerto Rican citizens have relocated to Florida, and many are going to stay here. As you can see, look at what's still it looks like in Puerto Rico. These poor people have dealt with so much. And so we have the remnants of Tropical Storm Beryl bringing heavy rains and wind to Puerto Rico, creating flash flood conditions on the island and exacerbating power outage issues that still have remained since last year's hurricane season. So Beryl was downgraded from a tropical storm to a remnant low-pressure system on Sunday as it passed over the Lesser Antilles. Though less powerful, it still brought 2 to 4 inches of heavy rain and gusty winds to southeast Puerto Rico on Monday. Flash flood warnings have now expired, but a watch continues. And let's hope things stay quiet and calm in the Atlantic. So the state wants federal disaster declaration and aid for flooding, and this is up in Michigan. And look at that road. Do you remember seeing this before? It's so hard to believe that water could do that much damage, but we've seen it time and time again. And still we have sources that are saying that there's more than just simply rain events happening. They're testing out some other direct energy weapons as well. Just amazing the damage done to these roads. It's just been incredible. And Michigan got so hit hard, as has Wisconsin. And gosh, what states haven't been hit hard by serious flooding this year? It's just been incredible. and we'll see what happens with that as well. So what is the oldest color in the world? Well, scientists say that it's actually pink. So scientists from the Austrian National University and overseas have discovered the oldest colors in the geological record. A 1.1 billion year old bright pink pigment extracted from rocks deep beneath the Sahara Desert in Africa. So these pigments were taken from marine black shales of the Tao-u-Deni Basin in Mauritania, West Africa, and they were more than 500 million years older than previous pigment discoveries. And so these come from fossils that basically come from very, very microscopic living things, living microorganisms that were actually, many, many times smaller than algae, and actually not able to support larger forms of life when they were the dominant form of microorganism in the world's oceans at the time. It's something called the cyanobacteria. And so that was the base of the food chain in the oceans a billion years ago, which explained why the bigger animals didn't exist yet. And algae, which is still microscopic, it's still 1,000 times larger in volume than the cyanobacteria, and they're a much richer food source. And actually, as we've talked about, could be very, very healthy. Some blue-green algae in different forms, extremely healthy things to add to our diet. And really, they have a blood purifying effect. So bale monkeys living in different areas have very different DNA. And this is something that scientists discovered. And again, there's a lot that we don't know about our human history, and such as humans are the only Rh negative thing on the planet. So where did that come from if nothing else on the planet has that? How do we explain that? And so many think that it's extraterrestrials, ancient astronauts. It makes an awful lot of sense, especially when we look at all the legends from all over the world. Well, the reason why some of these monkeys have different DNA is because they definitely must have crossbred with other simians. And so the ones in this particular area are around populations of other simians that the other ones are not. And so it's a hybridization that is happening and changing their DNA. And so many think that humans are a hybrid for sure, and perhaps a hybrid with something that we don't know exactly what it is still. Is the end nigh? New blood tests can reveal your life expectancy. Yale scientists develop a measure to calculate biological age with greater accuracy. And of course, you have your chronological age and you have your biological age. And so they're doing blood tests now that could tell you, because your blood, even though you might be, say, 35, your blood might read 23, or it might read 57. It all depends on what we do in our life, many different factors, genetic, diet for sure, exercise. There's so many things that add into these factors. And so there's also ways of doing this with electrical impedance as well, or impedance. And now they're developing blood tests that could give you an idea of your life expectancy. So that's pretty interesting as well. Boston is weighing in on giving legal non-U.S. citizens voting rights. So this will definitely get a lot of people in an uproar. The city council is considering ways to make the city elections more inclusive and actually allowing non-U.S. citizens that are living in the country legally to possibly vote. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because that, I'm sure, is going to be something that is going to have people on both sides of the fence. And so I noticed in the comments today that one of our regulars there had brought this up and was wondering if this is something possibly that could be a false flag in the making. Role players needed for Fort Lewis, Washington. Oak Grove Technologies is looking to hire role players, interpreters, and role player handlers for Fort Lewis, Washington between July 16th and July 20th. And handlers need to be there between the 13th and 20th. So submit your resume to Nora. And so, anyway, role players shall have a secret clearance. Everybody needs to be in excellent physical condition. Everybody is expected to perform similar physical duties to soldiers. Everybody has to have cultural knowledge of the exercise target region. Everybody should be proficient in English and Pashto. Everybody should be proficient in an identified language to a level equal or greater than 3+/3+ standards required of the Defense Language Institute. All interpreters should be comfortable operating around military working dogs. And so it gets into the same sort of thing for each of the different people that they're looking for these jobs as role players, quote unquote. And so that's Indeed.com, and this is ZipRecruiter, same thing. Okay, so is this just wargaming? Is that all that this is? Because Fort Washington is a military base. Is it just that, or is this something else? And Pashto, why Pashto? Well, Pashto, as it turns out, is the language of the Pashtuns, and it's known in Persian literature as Afghani, and in Urdu and Hindi literature as Pathani. And so speakers of the language are called Pashtuns, as we said, and it's an Eastern Iranian language belonging to the Indo-European family. So it's one of the two official languages in Afghanistan. It's the second largest regional language of Pakistan, mainly spoken in west and northwest of the country. In Pakistan, it's the majority language of the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the northern districts of Balochistan, and also is used in the northeastern Iranian areas as well. So curious. So what about the company Oak Grove Technologies? So, well, they deliver the best end-to-end solutions possible, and as you can see, these are contractors. World-class SWAT team training. They're also located in Raleigh-Durham and Washington, D.C. Yeah, definitely contractors, areas of expertise, learning solutions, training, intelligence services, strategic communications, language, regional expertise and culture, tech. Their clients, law enforcement, commercial nonprofits, Department of Defense, international services, state and local government, federal government. So interesting, and it could be just training, but then you wonder all the stories that talk about actors. And so is it training for something that's live? Is it going to be overseas? Is it just totally innocent? And in our day and age, it's good to take a peek at everything, and just so that we're aware, so that if anything, does pop up, maybe we'll have an idea ahead of time, and maybe we'll be able to see things a little clearer if there is something that pops up and say, you remember that exercise? Now that's really curious. So just throwing that out there, because I just felt it should be something you guys should be aware of, whether it's just totally innocent or not. I'm not making any conclusions. You guys are free to make whatever conclusions you want to. But it's just something to throw out there, because again, it's all about knowledge. It's all about sharing our knowledge with each other, so we're not caught off guard. And we're all a little bit more awake than we were each day that passes on. And we're sharing with as many people as possible, so we're waking them up too. So as always, my friends, thumbs up to support the channel. Go ahead and share, subscribe, and join our family if you haven't subscribed yet. Click the button so you get the bell, so you get all notifications. As always, my friends, please be blessed with abundant peace, love, happiness, wealth, all good things. May you guys always be kept safe and secure in these times. God bless and namaste.